Hey everyone, this is Kai the Fighting or Kaimatic, and I wanted to show you case my Icy Hot Prismatic Stasis and Solar Titan build. Okay, to start with, of course I'm running Glacial Quake. From there, I'm going to also run Rally Barricade, which is going to synergize with our Armor Exotic piece. After that, I'm going to run the classic combination of Frenzied Blade and Consecration Nail in order to create ignitions. Because our goal with this build is going to be creating ignitions in order to help explode our crystals. Glacial Grenade is a must, of course. It's going to be one of the main ways for us to create crystals. I've noticed that on a lot of Prismatic Titans, we're running Glacial Lance or Diamond Lance in order to create our lances. And since Prismatic is focused on a lot of abilities and using a ton of abilities, even in Transcendence, we're going to be creating a lot of lances. Of course, we need Consecration Nail. And this is going to be our main generator of ignitions. And with Frenzy Blade, we're going to have 3 of them. Onto our fragments. The first 2 ones here are Devotion and Honor. And this is going to help us be able to keep up our Transcendence energy. With this one, it's with our Stasis debuffs. And with Honor, it's going to be picking up elemental pickups from the Stasis defeats. Our third one here is Facet of Awakening. And this is going to create our elemental pickups, which creates Stasis Shards, helps give us melee energy, and keep up our Darkness Transcendence. Our fourth one is Facet of Ruin. This is going to be our main engine for dealing damage and shattering crystals, which this one is great because it increases the size and damage of the burst for the shatter, as well as the area of effect for solar ignitions. This is actually good because enemies can be further away from the crystals than you think, and it covers a large area. The last 2 facets are for survivability. I'm going to run Blessing because I'm not running Knockout, but you can switch this one with Facet of Protection, as well as Facet of Purpose, as I'm focusing on orbs since we're going to be close to the enemies as we shatter the crystals and creating more orbs. For our exotic armor, we're going to be running Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap. This one is great because since we're focused on Diamond Lance, a lot of Titans will be creating these. I'm going to focus my build on it, and we'll be able to create more Stasis Crystals with Diamond Lances, as well as run our Rally Barricade to help us with reload speed and creating lances near me when we hit targets with precision hits. For our mods, we're going to be running Harmonic Siphons for Orb of Powers, as well as Heavy Ammo Finder. For the arms, we're going to be focusing on Grenade cooldown, as well as creating orbs with both our melee and our grenades, since we're going to be using them in tandem to shatter the crystals. For our armor piece, run whatever resistance mods you need. And for our leg, we're going to be running Better Already and Recuperation. I like this combination because since we're not running Knockout, picking up an orb is basically the same effect. It's going to heal you for a decent chunk while giving you Restoration or Regeneration. For our class item, we're running Powerful Attraction to be able to create more orbs, since we're going to be using Rally Barricade since it helps benefit our Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap, and Reaper, of course, for more orbs. And finish that up with Bomber. Lastly, for the weapons, I chose Bold Endings. This is a really interesting weapon for this because it has Headstone and Dragonfly. When you pop an enemy in the head, it's actually going to help explode other frozen enemies, create a crystal to freeze, and possibly break the crystal all at once with 1 kill. You could also run any headstone weapon with this, especially Hawkeye Breach Ornament weapons might be good with this build too, but I wanted to keep this with the seasonal weapons so that anyone can get this. And the energy weapon, I went with Indebted Kindness. I find that the rocket sidearms shatters the crystals really well. You could most likely use any grenade launcher or anything that would shatter crystals. Even a trace rifle might work for this. Lastly, our grenade launcher, our heavy, has to be Salvation's Grip in order to create more crystals. With a recent buff, it does pretty well with controlling area and freezing champions and making more crystals to explode. Of course, if you need more damage, you could switch this up, but I like this exotic for this build. And of course, I have to showcase the drip. I know Aztecross said no drip for this, but I gotta showcase the Arctic Titan drip that I made here. Alright, and I'll move on to some gameplay. Okay, here we can see me getting ready to use a solar ignition by placing the crystals behind the boss. It does a decent bit of damage, but you can see how the ignition breaks all the crystals, and then from there I can just use my heavy weapon to do more damage, put down the rally barricade, and start creating more crystals. Use the indebted kindness here to break the crystals as well, and just work around that. On top of using Salvation's Edge and the crystals to do damage, you can see me pulling out the bold endings to pop their heads, get some precision hits, and explode them with Dragon's Fly and creating more crystals. With the barrier allocate, I was able to create another lance next to me because of the prison headshots, and then be able to freeze the boss a little bit more. And then from here, you just deal more damage as well with indebted kindness and popping transcendence in order to create more abilities and stasis lances. And that's basically going to be the main game loop, especially when facing against bigger enemies. Alright, here we can see me putting up a stasis wall, which helps block them and freeze them. Then I go around with my solar ignitions to create another stasis lamp, pop the crystals, and then continue rinse and repeat. You might need to actually jump onto the crystals or go around them, because hitting the consecration nail onto the wall actually doesn't break it. So you can see that I went around the enemies here and just cleaning up more with my indebted kindness and trying to keep at a safe distance here. Okay, you can see here that having Transcendence is really good with this build because you can pick up a lot of items, which is what we're looking for. Throwing Stasis Lances, throwing Tangles if you use the Frenzy Blade. And then, as you can see, as you're cleaning up with indebted kindness or using your crystals, when you don't have any cooldowns up and you find it hard to be able to keep up fighting a large amount of enemies, you can just grab your lances whenever you need and then go Transcendence in order to revamp or rather upkeep your abilities. You can see here I'm creating a lot of throwables, which are really good because they stun and freeze and do a lot of AoE damage, so it helps keep yourself alive here. And then you continue to use your abilities, and look at all of the stuff here to pick up, which is awesome. And even when I don't have the ability to reload or the autonomy to, I can just continue spamming out abilities and throwables. And then now that I'm off of Transcendence, I have my cooldowns back again. So the gameplay loop is pretty sound, especially if you want to spam abilities and keep popping crystals. Alright, that sums up the end of my Stasis Solar Icy Hot Titan build. Thank you for watching, and as always, slap that like button like your mama I'm just playing. Love you, Cross. Peace.